Rob Van Dam, listen to True Hill Heat. Pow.
Yo, what up? You know what it is. It's your boy AJ Francis reporting to you live from New York City, the birthplace of hip hop. And I'm telling you that I'm only tuned in with True Hill Heat Wrestling. Holla at me.
What's going on, everybody? This is your former AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Once a champion, always a champion. Swerve Strickland. Whose house? Swerve's house. You're watching True Hill Heat podcast.
Hello. It is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3. We are live on the True Hill Heat, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for our NJPW Power Struggle 2024 review. And boy, oh boy, did New Japan Pro Wrestling drop a huge, noteworthy, newsworthy show this morning, and we're here to break it all down with you. Of course, I cannot do that alone. When it comes to New Japan Pro Wrestling, I got to have one or two people with me to talk about the NJPW goodness. Jay News is off for today. He's got his sabbatical, but don't worry, because I have the most positive, usually the most positive New Japan Pro Wrestling fan in the land. But today, he is heartbroken and going through a divorce. The one and only Sonal is here. How are you doing, Sonal?
I'm doing great. The thing is, right, even today, I am massively positive. Aside from going through the divorce, as you can see, Zack Sabre Jr. got added, but someone got removed, and we will speak about this in great detail later in the show. But I can't let, as married people say, you will know, SP3, that when troubles happen in relationships, you can't let it overshadow the greatness that happened, and I'm going to do that today in this review.
See, this is why we're now going to call you the strongest New Japan fan out there. Because even through the bad times, like 6, 7, 8 months ago, when it was not looking that good earlier this year for New Japan Pro Wrestling, you were still positive. You were still optimistic. You stayed through the tide. So of course, when the product gets good, they have to also break your heart at the same time.
But
that's how it happens.
I always see, so it's the same with this show, and it's the same with the last show, the G1 final, I think. And everyone's like, oh, New Japan, or the Destruction, maybe. New Japan is finally good again. And it's like all these fans are like coming back. And I was like, New Japan, you need to remember who has been there constantly watching every show, whether it is the pandemic, whether it's when everyone left. New Japan, remember me.
Remember us. But yes, we appreciate
that. Because SP3, you're sometimes negative. I am the person here who always sheds light onto New Japan. So, you know.
Well, I can't be anything other than honest. So, like, if it's bad, I call it bad. If it's good, I call it good. I had people getting mad at me because I compared a WWE match. I was like, it felt like a House of Torture match because there was so much shenanigans and interference involved.
New Japan fans or WWE fans?
WWE fans were mad at me because they was like, it wasn't that bad. And I was like, no, it was trash. But it's okay.
But how many
it's okay.
who House of Torture is, or they and how many of them are just like, oh, how dare you? We've seen that they're awful, but so you must be saying it's the worst, which technically you are.
Yeah, I am. That's pretty much what I was trying to do. But hey,
Wait, but can we just say one thing? The minimal amount of House of Torture in this show was great.
I think that is why this might get a higher score than even King of Pro Wrestling. We'll determine that by the end of the show. But we appreciate y'all if you are joining us live. I believe this is our third time that we've done basically a post show on the same day as the event. We did that for King of Pro Wrestling. We did it here for Power Struggle. That's what happens, guys, when they do the Monday shows. The Monday shows, that gives us a little bit of flexibility that we could do the show on the same day. So we appreciate y'all if you're joining us live. Appreciate y'all if you're joining us on demand. Remember to show your appreciation back the simplest way possible. Drop the thumbs up on this video. You can also share this video with all your New Japan friends, fans, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you're new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And if you're watching us on Facebook, you could drop a heart, a like, an angry emoji, a laughing emoji. However New Japan Pro Wrestling made you feel with Power Struggle 2024. Let us know with those emotes. Drop a heart and retweet the video on Twitter. And most of all, if you're watching on any of those three platforms, sound off in the live chat. We love to interact with all of you guys, hear your thoughts on NJPW Power Struggle 2024. And of course, if you're feeling generous, you want to get back to what we do here, you can send a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. It goes back to the contributors that you see on screen with us here. And we always appreciate that support. We do have one super chat from our preview, because we pre-recorded that, Sonal, me and Jay News. We pre-recorded our preview that dropped on Friday. So I had to read out I Make Beats, who sent a super chat donation during the premiere for our preview. He said, here's some love to the best YouTube channel in the game. THH is my jam. No cap. Another happy Halloween and wrestling weekend, brother. Thank you so much, I Make Beats. And I Make Beats is keeping the theme. He's keeping it going because he sends another super chat donation. Thank you so much, I Make Beats. He says, THH, best out there in the YouTube jungle. This is the type of love we appreciate. We appreciate
that's the positivity we need. That's the positivity we love here.
Exactly. That's the positivity that Sonal needs, because Sonal, it was a tough day for you. I don't know. You know who's probably going through it. I think it's very ironic because I will pull back the curtain. This is not the reason why he's not here today, but man, how does Jay News feel that his favorite
my fellow Sanada brethren, my fellow Sanada supporter?
But what's the two common themes about when we do these reviews with Jay News? He loves everything Sanada, and he hates everything David Finlay. And love it together.
he like sensed it, and he said, right, the one good thing that I can always praise has now gone with the one bad thing. I'm not coming on. I refuse to be on now.
I was like, yo, this is very ironic that he told me yesterday that he couldn't make it for today's show. But I was just watching the show and I was just like, did he know something that I didn't know?
He knew.
It's like he knew. But thank you so much, I Make Beats, for the super chat donation. Got a bunch of other good comments here in the chat. I Make Beats saying, hey, THH people, good pay-per-view for a Monday. Sanada the bastard.
No, that nickname's already taken. Jake Lee's got that. The other handsome Japanese man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the smart bastard. I forgot. I thought when I saw the bastard, I thought Pat, but you're right. The smart bastard is Jake Lee. He says also, good to see the cleaner back in the New Japan ring. Let's get it. I mean, I can't tell you how much joy I have every time I hear Devil Sky.
It's such a good song, isn't it?
It's one of the all-time great New Japan themes. It's one of the all-time greats. It's just like
my favorite is when Kenny used to sing along. He had his little brush and he'd be there singing.
And he used to do the dance. Mr. Bonda says first week of 2025 is gonna go crazy, man. Wrestling fans are eating so good. I was very much surprised at how much I thought like today they would be like heavy on the setup for Wrestle Kingdom, and I didn't even take into account that they're building two pay-per-views at once. They're building their own version of WrestleMania's night 1 and night 2 with 2 nights basically of Wrestle Kingdom in the Tokyo Dome with Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty. And I did not realize how much they would build towards Wrestle Dynasty as well as Wrestle Kingdom on this show.
I think the good thing is because obviously New Japan have had 2 days Wrestle Kingdom before and it wasn't the best. But this has worked really well because it's basically like, as you said, like WrestleMania, it's New Japan's version of Forbidden Door. But on the grandest scale possible, because obviously wherever, I don't know where they're doing it this year, because they said London, but I don't know what venue. But
I'm guessing the O2 because you can't go from like what was it, Wembley Stadium to like Wembley Arena. I feel Wembley Arena is too small. It's
tiny. I've been to both Wembley and O2. O2 is definitely better. But yeah, they like I was like you. I was like, okay, I'm gonna build up to Wrestle Kingdom, but and we'll speak about this, and you can tell from the thumbnail, the extent to which they have pushed for Dynasty with the names is massive. Like, this is something you'd expect at New Year's Dash, but they want to sell those tickets.
Yeah, you can tell. They went hard to sell some tickets.
I already have.
She's like, I already got mine. Clap it up for Sonal. Clap it up for Sonal. We got Joe in the chat, a new name in the chat. Thanks for joining us today. He said, Power Struggle was my first NJPW show. What a show for you to start off your New Japan journey. Welcome, Joe. Damn.
I want to know why this show specifically. That's why I want to throw back to you, Joe.
Yeah, let us know in the chat, Joe. Why was this your first New Japan show? What made you watch the show, and what did you think? We got Simeon in the chat who says Gato went back into his 2010 New Japan booking folder and remembered who he used to be. Power Struggle was newsworthy, and from the IWGP tag title match onwards, the show was pretty great. Yeah, it's basically the prototypical New Japan show where you got the early multi-man tags, but once you get going into the title matches, it just flowed like butter. But it was like one of the better shows.
Match with Shota and Sanada was a really nice way, because at first I was like, why is this like so low in the card with the implication? But it was a nice setting stone to move from, the multi-man to the thing. And it also gave somebody time to go backstage, change their shirt, realize how he's going to break my heart, and get ready to sign the divorce papers.
I love that you're going to talk about this the entire review. This is great. Simeon in the chat saying the GOAT returning to New Japan Pro Wrestling was beautiful. Kenny, by God, Omega in the Dome is so perfect. I 100% agree with that. Genesis J is joining us saying, I'm here on time. Welcome, Genesis J. And Genesis J also sending us a super chat donation. He is the biggest J News fan in the chat. He says, for my dog, for real, J News.
Don't let J News say that. He's just going to see David Finlay. He's just going to no.
Oh, he's repping. He's repping for J News. J News, he kept it consistent, and he's like, I'm not showing up after my favorite wrestler joined my most hated wrestler. And we also got Joe in the chat who's answering Sonal's question, saying ZSJ defense and Kenny Omega. LOL. I mean, those are two great reasons.
A lot of people watch for Kenny.
Yeah.
Came for Kenny, stayed for the wrestling.
I mean, Kenny Omega, man. My boy Jimmy Macaram, he was not a Kenny Omega fan before AEW. Then AEW kind of opened his eyes to how great Kenny Omega is, and he's gone back and watched some of the Kenny versus Okada matches. But he always gives Kenny credit because he feels like AEW has two real good draws, and that's MJF and Kenny Omega. So he says, like, he keeps saying they're missing their main draw, which is Kenny Omega, over the last couple. So I'm hoping that the news of him And him basically getting into a backstage brawl on this show means that he's going to be returning to AEW as well soon.
You know what I was thinking, and I said this about Bryan Danielson. Because, I mean, I don't watch AEW that often, but I would always watch it. There were old New Japan guys that I used to watch who were on it. But like Bryan Danielson, Kenny just seemed so happy being in front of the Japanese crowds, being for, and it's like you said, oh, maybe he's coming back to AEW, but he came to Japan. He wanted to make that statement first, saying he wants to represent AEW, but he wants to do it in a New Japan ring. And it's just like, at first, because when AEW all started, I was a bit annoyed. I'm not gonna lie, they all left. It was quite a thing. But it's like when I see Kenny in that ring, and I'm like, this is why, Kenny, what the crowd's reactions itself was enough. Like, they love him so much.
And I liked Harold Mage, but Harold Mage robbed us of 2 years. They could have been a partnership between AEW and New Japan from day one of AEW. We wouldn't have missed out on any Kenny Omega matches for 3 years if he would have just been like, hey, you guys want to go to the US, become stars over there, start the second biggest company in pro wrestling? Go ahead, let's do a partnership together. Because they offered that on day before they left at Wrestle Kingdom in 2019. They offered to partner up with New Japan, and Harold Mage was like, no. So,
controversy of having a guy Kokujin in charge. Cause all the problems.
Lady B says Kenny had his big match braids in. He meant business. I was seated.
His hair was
nice.
It did look good.
It did look good. He looked good. And for someone who's been out of the ring so long and had to deal with diverticulitis, he looked good out there. He looked good.
He doesn't look like he's aged. Normally illness ages you. He looked like he just stepped off from the moment he left for injury.
Absolutely. We got Big Man Dogs who says Joe saw Sanada joining the War Dog and was like, damn, I got to check this out.
Yeah, understandable.
Simeon says, I can't lie. If Sanada is going to be Skull and Sanada again, I'm all in. Just Five Guys Sanada was cute, but Skull and Sanada is where it's at.
Can we hold up, Simeon? If you mean Skull End, do you want him to go that shitty ass beard back with the shitty mohawk? Because I can tell you, no, we don't need that. Sanada's gone handsome. He can't go back. He can't go back to the man who could probably pass. You'd pass him, cross the road on him. This Sanada, because I think he should be, you have the smart bastard. If you're going to do a tag team with those two, the smart bastard and the handsome bastard, and call them the bastards.
The bastard. Together, they are the bastards. We got my boy Shotty in the chat. Good to see you, good brother. He says, was great to see Kenny, man. Hope we get to see him do some dope stuff. Pro wrestling has missed him dearly. Yes, I hope we get Kenny a whole 12 months of a year, 2025, and even the whole 12 months of the year, because he literally has not done that since 2020. 2021, he was basically tattered and taped together, and he ended off his run at Full Gear in 2021. He doesn't come back until, August of 2022. You got all that brawl out nonsense that kept us away from Kenny for 2 months. Then he comes back in November. He goes all the way to the next November and gets diverticulitis, and then he's out. So we haven't got him for a full calendar year since 2020. That's ridiculous.
We just want Kenny to be healthy and happy.
Exactly. We got another super chat donation. You guys are killing the game. Thank you so much. Genesis J, who says, just Five Guys effing leader left to be second in command to a damn Nepo baby chump. What kind of backwards booking is this?
Sanada wasn't the champion. I'm gonna put this out there. There was no leader in Just Five Guys. Just to put it out there. And if anything, they were co-leaders of the married husband and husband of Taichi and Sanada. Damn Nepo baby chump. I mean, to be fair, he's embracing that. He's embracing it.
He is. He thinks that his father wasn't shit because he never won a title.
Wasn't that a Royal Quest? He had that massive long-ass promo,
He's great. He's great. He's coming to his own. I'm so happy for him. So happy for him. But yes, keep coming with those super chat donations. Keep coming with those comments in the live chat because we got to talk about this show. What did you think about the crowd in Osaka at Edion Arena today for Power Struggles and all?
Osaka tends to have quite good crowds. They were very responsive. We'll speak about this, especially with the Shota stuff. They really knew where their thoughts were. They seemed hot from the very beginning. They were very reactive. And that's what you want in a crowd because you can have the best wrestling in the world. And it's why a lot of people struggle with the pandemic matches for New Japan. You can have the best wrestling in the world, but if you don't have, and even the wrestlers said this, if you don't have the people cheering, it takes what could be an amazing match to just a good match.
That is true. I would say Osaka is probably in like the top 4, top 5 for New Japan. Kurgan Hall is number 1 for me. Ryogoku has come into number 2 after this year with the G1 final and then King of Pro Wrestling. Then I would say Tokyo Dome and then Osaka. Those are my Mount Rushmore for New Japan crowds. And I like the crowd today. But we had a pre-show match before the festivities really got going on today's show. Sonal, it was a 6-man tag team matchup. You had Yo teaming up with Ninja Mac and the DKC. Rocky Romero is back in the States for AEW or any of the other companies, the 1,000 companies he works for, as Yo teams up with the Ninjas to face Tiger Mask, Capitan Suicida, and what is it? Shomo Kaito. Kaito here, and this was a fine matchup. It didn't have too much time. I think it went about maybe 6 minutes. DKC actually scoring the victory for the Ninjas and Yo doing a springboard, basically like Rough Rider, to get the win on Kaito for the 1, 2, 3. This was a nice showing. I like the interaction between Yo and Ninja Mac, even though they were on the same team. They kind of had a little face-to-face, like previewing maybe a future battle between the two of them. Any thoughts on the pre-show match on today's show?
I didn't watch it.
That's fair. Don't worry. Don't worry. I do plenty of these reviews where my co-host does not watch the pre-show, and I understand.
It was
Some of
half
these pre-shows ain't worth it.
It was 5:30 in the morning, and then obviously I watched the show, and then I had to work, and then I had to sort my own slight thing, and then I was like, I'll get to it, and then I never did. I will.
To be fair, I woke up live for the second match on the show because I was like, I appreciate my sleep. I didn't go to sleep until like 1 a.m. So I was like, I'm not going to be up at 6 on the dot. I'm not going to be up for 5:30 for the pre-show. But I would get up at like 6:30. So I came into the second match and then I rewatched the pre-show and the first match and parts of the second matchup for the review because I'm dedicated to the game. But let's talk about the opening matchup on the main card here, as it was a 10-man tag team matchup. You had the Bullet Club and the Bullet Club War Dogs coming together as Taiji Ishimori and Robbie X representing the Bullet Club. They teamed up with the NJPW Strong Openweight Champion Gabe Kidd, Clark Connors, and Drilla Maloney as they face the team of the Intergalactic Jet Setters, Kevin Knight and Kushida, as well as Katsuyo Morishima, Paris De Silva, and Drew London, the Velocities. This was a fun little sprint to kind of kick things off here with the Bullet Club really just taking over and completely murking this poor young lion in Morishima. They hit him with every one of their finishing moves. You get Robbie X hits the XX Express. Then you get Connors and Maloney hit the hit and run. Then they pick them up. You get Connors hitting the 100 proof. And then you get Drilla hitting the Drilla killer. And then finally, it was Gabe Kidd who hits his stalling power driver for the 1-2-3 to pick up the win for the Bullet Club War Dogs. A quick sprint, but the Bullet Club showing their cohesion together in the end. Of course, the Velocities, they looked good throughout the Super Junior Tag League, and they did look good once again in this matchup here, the Intergalactic Jet Setters. This would be a crucial loss for them, but we'll have more on that a little bit later. But the Bullet Club War Dogs and the Bullet Club looking good together here. I gave the matchup 2.5 stars. What did you think?
I'm going to say this before because this is like a whole power struggle, but we've not done one for the junior tournament itself. Yeah. I am so, like, when we were at Royal Quest, and obviously there was rumblings of who was going to be X for Ishimori. Now, I've watched Robbie X for years. Like, I've seen him in so many shows live. And similarly with Velocities, actually, I've seen them at quite a few live shows. And to see them in this match and to see them in the tournament, I was over the moon. I think they really showed off. And even in this tag match, like, as someone who's quite small, for me, the Velocities are great. Because they know that they are probably much, even like with both their combined weight, much lighter and much smaller than most of those junior teams. And they really embraced that. And they picked up some big wins. Because I think if you realize for their block, everyone was at 4 points.
And going into the last night, yeah.
That was stressful. And then on the similar side, Robbie X, I was concerned at first because he's always been a babyface. His style is very babyface. But I think he's really fitted quite nicely with Ishimori. And now does this mean that Ishimori and Robbie X are now firmly in the War Dogs?
I don't know, because they did kind of specify on commentary throughout the Super Junior Tag League that Finley kind of said he didn't care who Taiji Ishimori got to team up with him because he only considers the War Dogs the real Bullet Club. But we always do see the members of Bullet Club teaming up with the War Dogs in these tag team matches here, and they worked really well together. And it wouldn't make sense to kind of embrace them because, you know, there's not much left of people that are just Bullet Club members. There's House of Torture that's a split off. There's War Dogs that's kind of a split off, but they should just embrace Robbie X.
Then there's like Fale over there.
Yeah, the Rogue Army. My bad, the Rogue Army.
And then Kenta doing Kenta things.
Yeah, Kenta will be on Fighting Spirit Unleashed, but yeah, he's really around in Japan. Yeah, he's facing Roy Uyoa at Fighting Spirit Unleashed.
Because he was in the UK, wasn't he, to defend his title, which I was like, I didn't realize he had a title. So where's Kenta been the last few months?
It's like, where you been, man? Where you been? And yes, I agree with Mr. Bonda. The Walker Stewart and Chris Dalton were great on the show, but Walker Stewart saying, he's already dead when they were marking Morishima was hilarious. That was great stuff. But
so
I want to.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
They're doing Lance Archer's job of killing the young lions.
Like, we'll take it from here.
We miss you.
But I agree with you. I really like the Velocities in this tournament. I've seen them a bunch on the UK scene and tag team matches, but, you know, seeing them throughout the tournament, getting the big win against the Intergalactic Jet Setters was a big one for them, especially with Robbie Eagles on commentary. I think that added a lot to that show. And, you know, they looked good throughout. And I like the comparisons that they gave them to, like, the Young Bucks and the Rockers, the Motor City Machine Guns and stuff. So really kind of put them over on commentary throughout the entire tournament. Like you said, Robbie X, he really made the transition to New Japan just seamlessly. And him and Taiji Ishimori worked really well with each other. I thought their best match was probably one of their final matches with Catch 2-2. I thought that matchup was a great match. And I can't say enough about the Bullet Club War Dogs. Connors and Maloney, for two guys that were basically like put together after they had a crazy brawl in last year's Best of Super Juniors tournament, they have become one of the best junior heavyweight tag teams. But like we will go on to say with the Super Junior Tag League final, the junior heavyweight division has the better tag team division. Like it's not even close. It's not even close.
Yeah.
It's not even close. And you can give a lot of credit to Catch 2 because they started this wave. And I agree with commentary what Walker and Chris said. It was really Catch 2 years ago coming in and becoming a tag team for United Empire that really started this revolution. But Bullet Club War Dogs have become a mainstay and the main heel tag team in the junior heavyweight division that has let the wave and the streak of the junior heavyweights be in the better tag team division for the past 2 years.
Yeah, I know we were all worried going into the tournament because, like, on the surface, there doesn't seem to be many teams. But looking at the tournament we've just had, actually there is. Whether you take some people from outside or you put some teams together. And I sort of, when you said Catch 2, I compare them a bit to like Bishamon and Dangerous Techers. That when the division needed them, they were there. Do you know what I mean? They were the ones always standing strong.
Yeah, very true. Very true there. But yes, we'll go on to more on this show because we have to talk about the next matchup on the show. It was an 8-man tag team contest. You had the Los Ingobernables de Japón represented by Tetsuya Naito, Yota Tsuji, Hiromu Takahashi, and Bushi versus the team of Dragon Daya and Ryusuke Taguchi, the Skateboard Bros, and Tomoke Homa and Tori Yano. This was your regular LIJ tag team, multi-man tag team matchup. Tsuji immediately overwhelmed Yano, who tagged in Taguchi. Taguchi was completely overwhelmed by everybody in LIJ, crotching him on the ropes and then getting triple teamed. Daya kind of turned the tide, showing his agility, moving fast, hitting the 619 on Naito. Honma suffered was beaten down by a triple team by Bushi, Takahashi, and Tsuji, but he countered Takahashi's offense, hit the Kokeshi. We get Naito. He held Yano in a figure 4 leg lock while Hiromu submitted Honma with his new finisher, the figure 4 Boston Crab, to pick up the victory for Los Ingobernables de Japón. They're always so put together when they do these tag team matches. And then there was a really cool exchange at the end because, you have LIJ do their regular fist bump in the air to close and celebrate their victory. But then we had a moment with Naito and Hiromu standing in the ring, commentary talking about the long alluded and teased challenge of Hiromu Takahashi challenging Tetsuya Naito to a one-on-one matchup. But that parlayed naturally into our post-match comments where Naito and Hiromu agreed to go into World Tag League together. So we are continuing the evolution of Hiromu Takahashi as he is basically, I've said it for basically years now, Sonal, and I know you have on your channel as well. Hiromu has done everything in the junior heavyweight division, and the only way that division was going to be able to evolve is if Hiromu either moved up or found other things to do. And he's done a little bit of both, where he's gone and he's still, in the Super Junior Tag League with Bushi. They had 4 points in the block, 2 out of 3 was their record. But now you're getting Hiromu, who's going to be in both the Super Junior Tag League and World Tag League, teaming up with Tetsuya Naito, dabbling in the heavyweight division a bit. But I feel like this is all a setup for them to not get along, not do well in the World Tag League, and then we get our matchup that they've been teasing for months now between Naito and Hiromu at Wrestle Kingdom.
I mean, so I don't think that this is a permanent move for Hiromu to heavyweight. I think he's going to be someone who, again, Hiromu always likes to break boundaries. He could easily be the person who does. So remember, Naito at one point held, like, him and Yujiro did that with, the junior and heavyweight. I think Hiromu can do that. And like you said, for the junior division to evolve, Hiromu needs to step away. And I think at this point, it's the strongest it's been for a long time. We had Wato returning from injury, Yo's return from injury. We'll speak about it later. Desperado returned. So if he wants to try something new, it's the perfect time to do it. And I'm really excited because that team is going to be chaos. It's like the big brother and the little brother teaming together. I'm telling you,
they can't get along.
It'll be funniest if Tsuji teams up again with, who was he with last time?
I don't know. Was he with Shingo last
No,
time?
just someone from CMLL.
Oh, yeah. He was with Zen Dunkun Jr.
He was with somebody, but I think it'll be interesting to see.
He was with the mask guy that looks like a pirate.
Someone in the comments help us here because we're just like flying out.
Yeah,
The
pronunciate. Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. He's the pirate guy with the mask. It's Zandakun Jr. You gotta. Yeah. See, I said I was
Xander
right.
Jr. Okay, that makes more sense.
Zandakan. There you go.
No,
you guys know I don't know how to pronounce stuff.
We needed Jay News here for that.
Yes, he's our Spanish expert for the team. Yes.
But yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting. And again, adding a late, because you said this, the junior tag division is way stronger. So even if you add these little matches, because the thing with LIJ is you say put makeshift teams together, but LIJ are the most complete faction. And if you're going to put any random teams together, it makes sense to do it within LIJ because LIJ can work. Because someone said that the last time Naito was in World Tag League was with Sanada. Sanada was in it with Evil. Do you know what I mean? All of LIJ can work together. Bushi is teamed with Titan, teamed with Hiromu. It just none of the LIJ pairings I think are ever as random as people like to push.
Yeah. I think now, based on what happened in the main event, I think we should get Tsuji and Shingo together.
But that's unfair to everyone else.
Hey, they put on that banger of a matchup during the tour, which was one of the best matches, and it wasn't even part of the tournament, with Shingo and Tsuji versus Ulloa and Zack Sabre Jr. That was great.
If any of you haven't watched any of like the pre-shows, like the lower card for any of the Power Struggle or non-tournament, go and watch that one because that was phenomenal.
Yeah. That's the one. That's the one to watch for sure. Hiromu and Bushi did not do the best, but they did get the clutch win that cost Bullet Club War Dogs their block. So I'll give it up for them for that. But
I like when Hiromu was like, "And we made it to the final." Is what I wanted to say. That's such a Hiromu thing to do. That is such a Hiromu thing to do.
It is. We got a shout from Mr. Bonda says, "Put Gates of Agony in the World Tag League." I don't know if they will, because there's a lot of people that had not been confirmed for a Wrestle Kingdom matchup that would put them out of the running for World Tag League. So we might have enough spots from this New Japan talent, but I do agree they should have one team from like AEW, maybe one team from CMLL.
And I'm gonna bring it up. I know this is New Japan. In any ideal world, I'd have said bring Aussie Open. But even I have been watching what is going on. And I'm sorry, I need to air this. AEW is splitting up Aussie Open and I can't deal with this. I can't. I physically...
I don't know yet.
You think they're going to turn Dongzilla?
I think they should. I think that's how the story should go, that Dongzilla turns on Ospreay and helps Fletcher beat him at Full Gear. But I don't know if Fletcher should be in a tag team anymore because he's kind of flourishing on his own. Did you see the new look that he had on Collision?
I don't like it. It's weird.
I loved it. He's done looking like Ospreay. He said Ospreay has blonde hair. I'm shaving it. Ospreay wears tights. I have trunks.
I know how pretty. The only reason I think Dongzilla might is because, and we'll speak about this later for the tag match, some people who are now tag champions called out Kyle. And with Wrestle Dynasty coming up and, the Empire needs to settle some scores.
Could be onto something there. But yes, I gave the LIJ tag team matchup 2.25 stars. 2.5 actually. 2.5 stars.
This is not bad for one of the lower card matches.
Absolutely. Both lower card matches were perfectly fine. Then you had our first kind of a match of some substance, as this was building to a match at Wrestle Kingdom. It's going to be House of Torture's Evil and the NJPW World Television Champion Ren Narita versus Hiroshi Tanahashi and Boltin Oleg. Of course, this was supposed to be El Phantasmo in this matchup. We talked about it on the preview. El Phantasmo saw a doctor that found a little tumor of cancer, so our thoughts and prayers to El Phantasmo for sure. But this matchup here was a House of Torture match, but on less shenanigans than we usually get from them. So I appreciate that. Narita worked over Tanahashi's weakened leg for an advantage for his team. Tanahashi began his comeback. He hit a flying crossbody. He gave the hot tag to Oleg, who came in. He was a house of fire. You get Tanahashi hitting Narita with the sling blade. Seemingly, it looked like Ace, the Ace and Oleg were going up for the win as Tanahashi went to the top rope for high fly flow, and Oleg went for his finisher, the rolling Green Bay plunge, but it was reversed as Evil Crutch put down Tanahashi on the top rope, and Narita rolled up Oleg for the 1-2-3. House of Torture picking up the win. The post-match was a little bit more eventful as you had House of Torture bullying their downed opponent. They basically hold up Tanahashi. Evil says that Tanahashi will retire when he wants him to retire, and it won't be January 4th, 2026. How dare he think he has a year and 2 months left? He'll retire January 4th, 2025 when he beats him at Wrestle Kingdom. You get Oleg trying to fight back, but Narita laid him out. He basically smokes his fake cigarette as he holds up the NJPW World Television Championship. But as House of Torture lead Jado and Tanahashi to the back, jumping them backstage, you get Roye Uwa of TMDK coming out. And not only does he stop Narita from attacking Oleg, he challenges him for the NJPW World Television Champion. Oyowa just came back and he's like, I'm challenging for all the titles until I win one. But just as he did that, that brought out Jeff Cobb, who got in Oyowa's face. He made the challenge to Narita, tried to brawl with Narita before he bailed. And then him and Oyowa got in an argument, arguing over who would get the next shot at the NJPW World Television Championship. And then what we got in the post-match comments that's up on their YouTube channel, Tanahashi talked to Jado. He thanked him for, having his back. He says that he was supposed to team up with El Phantasmo in World Tag League, but because of his health, he's now asking Jado to step in for him. And this is basically what me and Jay News, what we talked about on the preview, because we didn't know who was replacing ELP when we recorded the preview. I thought it would naturally be Jado, but we got Boltin Oleg instead. That makes me believe that Boltin Oleg is probably going to team up with Yano, I think, probably in World Tag League, because why wouldn't Tanahashi just team up with Oleg like he did here? Instead, he's going to be teaming up with Jado in World Tag League. The match itself, 1 3/4. Like, it's a House of Torture match. It didn't have the usual over-the-top volume of, interference and shenanigans. So I appreciate that much, but it was more about the post-match with Evil talking his trash, beating down Tanahashi ahead of Wrestle Kingdom, and the setup for what seems like another three-way match for the NJPW World Television Championship, which is probably the way to go if Ren Narita is your champion. Right, Sonal? You're muted.
Because I sneezed really loudly before. Yeah, like certain times multi-man matches don't work, but I say that it works for junior division, tag matches, and Red Narita. Because it means there is going to be moments where you get good wrestling. It was similarly to the other triple threat. You at least had moments between Suji and Jeff Cobb that were good. But I agree with the Tana thing. I think obviously it would make sense for Tana and Oleg, but like a part of me kind of likes that Jado is doing it just for the whole ELP thing, and obviously we're sending all our prayers to ELP. It'll be nice. Hopefully, like with Jado, I guess the matches can be shorter, so Tana doesn't have to waste his knees anymore. So
probably be like, I would say like 6 to 10 minutes is going to be the average for them.
That's what Tanahashi needs for those knees. Give him a little bit of a break.
Yeah. But man, between the two of them, they're going to be walking at negative 0.5 speed.
It'll be, like everyone in the G1 used to be like, all the wrestlers like, oh, if you've got a match with Yano, it's like an easy night. That's gonna be what's gonna be with Tanahashi and Jada. It's like this is the chilled out moment. This is like we can just take it easy.
We'll take it easy for a bit here. We'll be fine. We got in the chat Genesis J who says House of Torture Tana Oleg was hot garbage.
It was less hot garbage than normal.
Yes, it was like less hot garbage than normal, but it's pretty much
garbage.
Yeah, it's probably above average for House of Torture. Simeon saying, Cobb tried to little bro big grip. Yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't like Cobb trying to little bro my boy Uiwa. Uiwa, though, I love how this dude is just skipping the line on every title.
Didn't Uemura did the same thing though? Remember, he was just challenging for title after title when he came back. He was like, this title. Oh, no, we're going to try that title. We're going to, like, tag titles. We'll go for that one as well.
He's like, I need a title. I'm the new generation. Fuck this. Mr. Bonda saying, give me a Jeff Cobb and Roy Uiwa trilogy. I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that at all. I think whoever, if it's a singles match or if it's the three-way like they teased here, just put the title on Uiwa, please. Just put the title on Uiwa and have him feud with Jeff Cobb.
Yeah.
I would much prefer this match to be Jeff Cobb and Uiwa.
Uiwa pinned Ren Narita, and then Jeff Cobb obviously has, again, the thing of, well, I didn't get pinned for it, so... Yeah. We love Jeff Cobb.
Exactly. I want to see Jeff Cobb in the world TV title picture for sure.
I mean, I want to see him in the world heavyweight title, but I don't think that's going to happen. So
I wouldn't mind that. I mean, he has a claim to it because he's the guy who beat ZSJ for the NJPW World Television Championship, so he has a claim. I may be saying, yeah, sucks about ELP. Cancer fucking sucks. ELP, we love him over here. We got to interview him at the beginning of the year. Sonal got to interview him for her channel. So we love ELP over here. And I hope he has a speedy recovery. And it really sucks the fact that, this happened right now, because I really feel the whole three-way situation would not be happening if ELP was healthy. I think it would have been ELP versus Ren Narita at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, it's awful, but I think the only thing I can say is they caught it early. ELP seems positive. If anyone saw, he's been making the light out of it. He said in his first one, at least I don't have to face House of Torture now. He did a nice little post on Instagram on Halloween, which made me shake my head, but go, such an ELP thing to do. So just, guys, if you're on social media, just send him love, send him lots of good and nice messages and thoughts. We love you, ELP.
Yes. We love you, ELP, for sure. We got Alex Powell with a good shout here saying Fujita versus Wato for Best of Super Junior finals would be dope. You sold me. That's what I want. I think after this show, Wato should be the lead candidate for most people to win Best of Super Juniors next year, and he should probably win it again. But Fujita is another one who could win it himself.
Big Fuj.
The big Fuj. Next up, we had a special singles match, Sonal. It was Shota Umino going one-on-one with Sanada.
No, we don't say his name. We don't say his name.
Both men started off strong in this one. Sanada gained an advantage after slamming Umino with the magic screw on the outside, landing high on his neck. He started sending Shooter into the barricade and into the chairs beyond. You got Sanada callously punishing him, kind of turning up the aggression early on here, which was a tease of things to come, Sonal. He went back into the ring and tried to get a count-out victory, but Shooter kept fighting, got back into the ring at the count of 17. Umino's spirit, he started making a comeback, and he hits a big tornado DDT and then a standard DDT onto the ring apron. Another magic screw gave Sanada the advantage once again, but it was Umino who kept coming back, kept fighting strong. He did the Rampage version of the Death Rider at one point to have both men down. He succeeded with many kind of offensive transitions. We got a couple of good counters at the end of this, and it ends with Umino hitting another Death Rider. 1, 2, 3. Shota Umino gets a big victory, his first ever victory over Sanada to gain the 1, 2, 3, and seemingly position himself to get the next challenge for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. This one went a little too long for my blood, but it was still enjoyable overall. So I gave it 3 1/4 stars. Shota Umino tried to show his respect for Sanada in the post-match, but Sanada walked away without shaking his hand. Another tease of things to come. And then in the post-match comment, we got Sanada, who looked very distraught and frustrated with this loss. And then it was Gabe, who came and whispered something into his ear before helping Sanada off the floor and leading him to the back. I wonder what would happen next. Like I said, I enjoyed this one, especially like the latter half of the matchup. I thought they really kind of got a good flow into this one. So overall, pretty good matchup here. What did you think, Sonal?
I mean, disregarding what's going to happen later on, we'll just imagine that none of that ever happened and it was just the match. It was good. Like you said, maybe a bit long, but what I like is that they fired each other up. Now, I know that people have had like the criticism of Sanada being too chill, I've never had an issue with that because he picks his moments to get all excited. Not everyone can be Hiromu Takahashi, who is like 110% all the time. And it was again, so obviously Sanada was basically ignoring Shota this entire tour, even when he got hit from behind. And then it was literally the last show before the one on Saturday, where he snapped, as like commentary likes to put it. And then again, he brought it to the outside, which again is something Sanada doesn't really do, which probably teased what was going on. But yeah, I think it was good from Shota. I think the problem with this, and maybe it's a bit to do with the crowds, is the fact that if we'll speak about it later, the crowd's reaction to Shota winning, and then the crowd's reaction at the end, because the crowd knew what the purpose of this match was.
But so they cheered him in the matchup. That's what made the reaction later in the show. Like, what?
That's what I'm saying.
Is it just him going to the main event?
Like, I'm really in that sense, I'm blaming the crowd a bit because they knew they're not idiots. They knew that if Shota won this match, he was basically next in line for the title or whoever's going to do it. So why are you cheering him? No wonder New Japan is confused what to do with him, whether to keep him babyface or heel, because you've got them cheering in one. It's the same with Royal Quest. They were cheering him during the match, but then when he won, they were booing him.
They were booing him when it looked like he was going to win against Callum Newman.
Yeah, I mean, like for the first half of it, they were cheering. It was that thing. And that's why when I was like on Twitter, I was like, at the start, I was like, oh, they're really into this. They're really cheering for Shota. And then it switched. I was like, what's wrong with these crowds? Stick with one thing. You're confusing New Japan. They don't know what to do with him.
I think that New Japan is fully embracing that they have another Stardust Genius Naito situation. I think they fully have embraced it now.
Yeah, they just.
And
but the thing is,
if they want to go all the way with it, do a fan vote for the main event.
No, that's trauma. Somewhere, Naito's gonna be like crying in his boots. Okada's like,
no, you do.
AEW.
You do Naito versus Hiromu or ZSJ versus Shooter.
Don't do that. No, don't do that to Zack. We're not sacrificing Zack for pushing the star. Like. You know, in the post-match comments, I'm going to speak on this. He was like, no, in the interview, he's like, if I don't win this, I'm going to do the Rambo and I'm going to... That's not even a joke. When I spoke to him at Royal Quest, I was like, I've told people about you. The people who are coming to see you need to be in the main event. He's like, but if I don't win, I'm just going to be in the Rambo and that's going to be embarrassing for both of us. So don't do that, okay? Not the time.
I love it. We got Genesis J, who sent another super chat donation. Thank you so much, Genesis J. He says, the true top heel of NJPW versus backwards Sanada SMH.
Backwards Sanada?
He's saying that he's going backwards with his career because he's second to the Nepo baby.
Right. So no. Okay. I'm gonna say this, and I would have discussed this later, but you all keep hating. Any other faction, I think I'd have agreed. I'd have said, right, well, Sanada's moving backwards. But War Dogs are literally like one of the best draws at the moment. They are constantly improving. They are gaining a lot of attention. And honestly, like, I love Just Fight Guys. They're one of my favorite. They've got some of my favorite wrestlers. But as a faction, there was nothing that made them stand out like the War Dogs or like LIJ or the Empire. And the thing is, everyone has been complaining about Sanada for the past year. He's not doing anything. He's a bit boring.
He won the Wrestling Observer Most Overrated for 2023.
Exactly. So he did all that. So now they're giving him a change, and you're all complaining.
Still complaining.
Could have been House of Torture. Could have been House of Torture.
I don't know, but I think Shota Umino might win Most Overrated for 2024. The way the fans are reacting.
Yeah, I agree. I love Shota. That's the thing. I do love Shota, but it's the case of they had an idea when they brought him back. And to start, it's like when he was on Excursion, it seemed like he was fitting that. He was doing very well here in the UK, especially because he was here similar time to Tsuji, and they were billing Tsuji as a heel. The problem is, and people are saying it was his Excursion issue. I don't think that's the case because Tsuji and all them had it at a similar time. They have been pushing this narrative too much, and I don't think Shota himself. You can't blame New Japan on all this. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It is Shota's inability to. It's the same with Naito. We see that Naito is amazing, but it was his inability to connect with the Stardust Genius, because New Japan can do everything in the world. They can give him great matches. They can give him great storylines. But if he as a wrestler is not connecting, that's on him. Do you know what I mean?
That's true. That's true. I will give you that, but you know me. I'm riding on the shooter bandwagon. I'm on the shooter bandwagon, and I'm leading the charge.
No, you know how far back I have been on the Shota Umino bandwagon. When he came on Excursion here in the UK, I did some fan art for him. I mean, I never showed it to him, but like
I've been on his bandwagon since Jon Moxley murked him at Dominion 2019.
I was there before that. I was there before that SP3.
Then dragged him to the back.
I was there before him because I remember specifically getting annoyed that Shota was getting all this attention because of Moxley. I was like, well, I've been there before. I truly care. It's a different time back then. I was like, I had emotional attachment to these young lions because I'd seen them from like when they started, and I was like, how dare Jon Moxley suddenly come and like take him and plummet him when he could easily do it himself.
Well, we shall see. We shall see. We got more to talk about with Shooter later on in the show. Then you had the IWGP World Tag Team Championships up for grabs, Sonal, as it was TMDKs, Shane Hayes, Mikey Nichols defending against the United Empires, Great Okan, and Hanare. Hanare and Khan mocked Nichols early on into the matchup, so he inadvertently distracted the referee as they dominated Hayes. They isolated him for a bit. Nichols made the rescue for his tag team partner, and he and Hanare exchanged stiff shots with one another until the champion foolishly, Nichols headbutted Hanare again. It's like this man didn't learn his lesson from the G1 last year, and immediately Nichols is busted open. He's like leaking and is streaming down his forehead, started trickling down into his eyes, and then the gash looked like it got bigger throughout the rest of the matchup. Opting for a DDT, Nichols' efforts were thwarted by Hanare, which led to the big berserker, and then a sliding lariat was countered. We get Khan and Hayes took over from here with the former's resilience, reminding the latter that victory wouldn't be that easy. I love that this matchup was basically in commentary emphasized that it was two different matches. You had Hayes and Okan who were more wrestling, and then you had a pure never open weight fight between Nichols and Hanare. In the end, it was TMDK who kept going for their double team finishers. They hit one dude buster, but they weren't able to capitalize with a pinfall. They hit the power bottom, but they couldn't get the 1-2-3 on Hanare. And then eventually they took out Hayes and then hit Nichols with the Imperial drop. Did United Empire, and they get the 1-2-3. United Empire is your new IWGP World Tag Team Champions, and what I thought was a very good matchup. Like Hanare and Okan really meshed well together as like the monster tag team, like a monster heel tag team. They worked this against the more kind of versatile TMDK crew here. The hard hitting of Hanare mixed with the wrestling ability of Great Okan meshed well here for the victory and new World Tag Team Champions. I gave this match 3.5 stars. This was better than I thought it would be. What did you think, Sonal?
Honestly, I forgot it was on the card. Like I think like because I was so obviously been immersed, and they've not really had they've not had warm-up matches to this.
Yeah.
Because Shane Hayes has been on his post honeymoon, which he's been sharing on Instagram. But yeah, I was really surprised with it as well. I think it was a very good match. Again, always interesting to see Hanare and Nichols fight together. I think it's the right decision. I love TMDK so much, but going into Wrestle Kingdom, it's one imperative that the belts are split. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, TMDK have their match for New Japan Strong, but I think Hanare and
against the Grizzled Young Vets.
Yeah, the Scouser and the one from Birmingham. I think it's from Birmingham. But I think Okan and Hanare's relationship is very underrated, and most people probably don't realize how deep it goes. That they were in that like 2.5 class. So you had obviously Jay, Juice, Finley, Sho, and Yo, and then you had like Shota, the Musketeers. But in that middle bit, you had Wato, Okan, Hanare, Kitamura. Do you know what I mean? So they have been together for so long, and I think people might go, "Oh, it's not a weird team. It's actually the perfect."
It makes sense.
Yeah, and I think Okan has been constantly improving, and while we've seen he's maybe not ready for a big singles title, the tag titles I think works very well for both of them.
Yeah, I hope Nichols is all right after that headbutt, because I didn't think that was smart. I know Hanare showed off. He got a big bruise, a lump on his head after the fact, and if he headbutted him that hard that Hanare has a bruise, God knows the damage that Nichols did to himself.
I think Nichols is a breed of his own. Honestly, the man is like, we call Gabe Kidd a fucking madman. If you're gonna give the moniker to someone else, it's bloody Mikey Nichols. He's fucking crazy.
He headbutted Hanare twice now. No, it was multiple times in that first match. I remember that's when we were doing Ace Techers, and everybody on the Ace Techers podcast was uncomfortable with that matchup. Because
the thing is, right, it's a different thing that we've said. Like Hanare has always said, like, I've got a really strong neck. It's similar, like Samoans and Tongas have all said that. Mikey Nichols he's not the biggest guy. Do you know what I mean? His head is kind of skinny. He's not head-butting head worthy.
He doesn't have. He got a box head. He got kind of like a box head or like a box oval head. Yeah. It's not the type that should be headbutting Hanare, which those Polynesians, man, they always have the hardest heads. I don't know what he was thinking. Strong heads, them. Strong heads. Big Man Dog says people hating Shota Umino just makes me like him more. I'm with you. I feel the same way.
Anti-hero, isn't he? He's like the vigilante.
I was like, make him a heel. This man is ready to break out if you make him a heel.
But I think he's because the fact that he's acknowledging the boos and all of his comments, I think it's going to lead to something. Because I think if they weren't going to do anything, they'd just tell the show to, and even like his opponents, like Zack and all them, have spoke about the booing. I think if they weren't going to do anything, they're not going to speak about it.
True. All right, it was time. It was time for the big moment a lot of people watched this show for. the return of Kenny Omega coming out to Devil Sky. He got a really good response from this Osaka crowd. He got a great reaction from the Osaka crowd. He cut a promo in half Japanese, half English. His Japanese is just it's unlike anybody else. Like, I know Zach does a good job with his Japanese, but Kenny Omega just sounds like Japanese is his first language.
At this rate, Kenny is as fluent as all the Japanese wrestlers.
He talks about how he's been out of the ring for a while, since last year, but he says it feels great to be back in a New Japan Pro Wrestling ring. And even though he's an AEW wrestler, he says New Japan Pro Wrestling is still the king of sports, and this is the place where he wants to make his return in the ring. And he says he will return. He plans on returning for January 5th, 2025, Wrestle Dynasty in the Tokyo Dome. And despite what was said on the reunion special on New Japan's YouTube, he says that he wants to come back to New Japan Pro Wrestling and face one of the young NJPW wrestlers. He says that they have a lot of young talent, a lot of new stars, and he wants to wrestle one of them, representing AEW in the Caesarean blue and with the lion mark in the middle. Kenny Omega got a great reaction from the fans, and the fans, despite being Japanese, did the goodbye, good night catchphrase with them. Just shows you how over Kenny Omega is in Japan. But I think the best part of this was the part that if you watch the pay-per-view, you had no idea this was, if you were just watching the pay-per-view and you weren't like me, who's perpetually online at the same time I'm watching these shows because I'm tweeting out, reactions and tweeting out match results and stuff. But I like scrolled through during the next match, and I see, I didn't even read the tweet because it was in Japanese, because it was only on the NJPW 1972 Twitter account that the young star that I called here, Sonal, on our Power Struggle preview. I was like, if Kenny Omega is going to be on this show, and this show is usually where they make big matches for Wrestle Kingdom. Like I said, I didn't expect them to make big matches for Wrestle Dynasty, but I said the person he needs to face from the New Japan roster is Gabe Kidd. And Gabe Kidd, the fucking madman, Gabe Kidd, backstage got into a altercation with Kenny Omega, an argument that broke out into a backstage brawl and fight. The pictures have circulated on all of the Twitter accounts for New Japan Pro Wrestling. I don't know if there was a video camera back there, but they need to release that footage on their YouTube channel, and they probably could get like at least 500,000 or maybe even 1 million views to just see what went down between the two men, because it looks crazy with Gabe Kidd and Kenny Omega fighting and brawling backstage. Omega, who just came back, and I don't even know if he's medically cleared yet to compete, but Gabe Kidd didn't give a damn as he brawled with Kenny Omega backstage, seemingly setting up Kenny Omega versus Gabe Kidd for Wrestle Dynasty on January 5th in the Tokyo Dome. What did you think about Kenny Omega's return in the ring, the promo that he cut, and what do you think about him and Gabe Kidd brawling backstage?
I was speaking about this with SP3 earlier. Like, I loved Kenny. Kenny was one of the reasons I got into New Japan, because I used to watch Being the Elite, and like that was the reason. Him and Will Ospreay was the reason I watched Wrestle Kingdom in 2018, and I always loved Kenny's ring style. But like a lot of things, when AEW started, I sort of got like a disconnect to that, because you guys know that I'm not like the biggest AEW fan. I'll watch it sometimes, but to see Kenny back in New Japan and seeing him so happy and seeing the crowd react, I think it was amazing. And Ari, Gabe, that fucking madman, perfect. Because Kenny mentioned Gabe in his interview. I mean, it took him a few tries to get the name right, which is why Gabe was so angry. He was like, I'm going to beat him up because he couldn't get my name right.
Makes sense. Gabe Kidd would do that.
Yeah, that's a very Gabe thing to do. But yeah, I'm really excited, because we've always said this. New Japan need to invest in Gabe. And if they say Kenny's return matches against Gabe, you know New Japan is invested. Do you know what I mean? Because aside from a title match, Kenny Omega returning to New Japan, to a New Japan ring, is probably bigger than you can ever get. Do you know what I mean? For some people, it'd be bigger than the title matches because it's Kenny.
And that's Kenny giving him the stamp of approval because, like, Kenny is the guy who basically passed the torch to the next Gaijins, which was Jay White and Will Ospreay before he left in 2019. Then he came back and had the big matchup with Will Ospreay, still one of the greatest pro wrestling matches of all time. But this is a big stamp of approval for Gabe Kidd to be the next Gaijin. Like, you got Zach right now, who is the top Gaijin, but you need someone on the waiting to come in and be the next one up, and that's Gabe Kidd, and everybody saw it. All the fans have been saying it, especially after his performance in the G1 Climax. But Kenny Omega saying, hey, I want to work with this guy in my return to New Japan, that says a lot. I don't think there's any bigger stamp of approval for a Gaijin than Kenny Omega saying, I'm going to work with you. And I'm going to work with you after nearly a year out of the ring as well.
At the Tokyo Dome. At one of the biggest collaborators. Yeah, I know that Forbidden Door have done big numbers and stuff in it, but to do at the Tokyo Dome, like, for wrestling fans, this is huge. But generally, Tokyo Dome is massive. For, like, me as a K-pop fan, one of the biggest things you can do is perform at the Tokyo Dome. So the fact that Kenny has gone, right, you're going to be my return match at the Tokyo Dome, it's insane.
Very much so. Very much insane. We got Alex Powell who says Gabe getting V-triggered to death. Possibly.
Gabe will not allow that. Gabe is a fucking madman. He will not be affected by the V-trigger.
We also got a super chat donation from Genesis J once again. Thank you so much, Genesis J. He says, Kenny the GOAT. Gabe gonna F around and find out. They ain't nothing like New Japan Kenny Omega. New Japan Kenny Omega is a different beast from every other version of Kenny Omega. And we saw that at Wrestle Kingdom 17. Like I said, the Will Ospreay matchup at Wrestle Kingdom 17 is top 4, top 5 matches of all time for me.
I agree.
Love that match. Love the table spot. The table spot I still have dreams about.
That's what SP3 dreams about at night.
I dream about that table spot that Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega did. We got also Big Man Dogs. He says they did mention it on commentary after one of the matches. Yeah, after the Super Junior Tag League final, they mentioned it. But like I said, I was hearing about this during the it came out on Twitter before that. That's what I was saying. Like during the next matchup, I saw it on Twitter. I was like, "Oh shit, it's happening!" I was right.
It's one of the benefits. It's one of the benefits of being chronically online during shows.
You get the first news. You get the breaking news as it happens. We got Big Man Dog says he just choked him a little bit. Yes, he just choked him a little bit. Kenny Omega was trying to Kenny Omega was just trying to save a dog, and Gabe Kidd attacked him.
Yeah, it's things that happen.
That's what I was like. I did tweet out. I was like, Kenny Omega and Gabe Kidd got into a backstage fight. I was like, you can't take these AEW wrestlers nowhere.
No. Well, or you can't take Gabe Kidd anywhere.
Also true. But that's a huge matchup to have at Wrestle Dynasty. I was like, that's big. Because I was fine with them teasing, Omega and Tanahashi versus the Young Bucks, but I was
they were teasing. That's why I thought. And I was like, I don't really care about the Young Bucks.
I was like, it's not even me not caring for the Young Bucks, because I think the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega always have great matches together, but like you're stepping down. You're like going down a row of stairs, because you did the first one you ever did was Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi, the Golden Lovers versus the Young Bucks. One of the best tag team matches I ever seen back in 2018. Then you went a step up from there with Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page versus the Young Bucks, which is by far, in my opinion, the greatest tag team match in the history of pro wrestling. That matchup is a work of art, storytelling on the highest level, in-ring action on the highest level. Then you went way down here to last year at Full Gear when you did Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho versus the Young Bucks. And then
Well, what
I was
was
like,
after that? I do not
and then I
remember.
was, yeah, that happened at Full Gear last year. And
God, I
now
didn't
you're
see
telling
it.
me you were gonna do Kenny Omega and Tanahashi. I was like, if you just want to go on the same level as Jericho, because at least people still like Tanahashi, but
Yeah,
skill
that's-
level wise, he's kind of on the same level as Chris Jericho, as Tanahashi with no knees. I was like,
Hey,
I'm not
hey,
too interested in that.
no, that's not
I'm not too
nice.
interested. Not too interested in that. Sorry, Tana. Sorry, not too interested.
Yeah, Genesis J, don't bring up that damn tree in here. No. Doesn't
I'm just
belong in
saying,
your
it
country.
happened. It did happen. It did happen. But I am happy Kenny Omega is back. But Kenny Omega versus Gabe Kidd makes me instantly interested in Wrestle Dynasty before I even find out what they did in the main event. I was like, Wrestle Dynasty, man, they got me hyped. They got me hyped for this show now.
Massively hyped.
We got Simeon who said, we don't talk about that Full Gear tag. It didn't happen.
I'm really glad now that I didn't watch it. Bloody hell, it must have been awful.
We got bad people. It's like, I forgot that for real. It happened, y'all.
Wait, but who decided this? Chris Jericho? Nah, that's wrong. Somebody
They
was in their head.
wasted the final like 3-4 months of Kenny Omega with him teaming up with Chris Jericho as the Golden Jets.
The Golden what?
They called themselves the Golden Jets
Why?
because they both have blonde hair and they're from Winnipeg, where the hockey team is the Winnipeg Jets. Yes, that's the real reason.
Who agreed to that? You've had so many Kenny's had so many iconic names. Do you know what I mean? Cleaner, he's had Golden Lovers, Golden Jets. I'm gonna scrub that from my memory. I'm scrubbing that from my memory. Scrubbing it. That's awful.
Fair.
Kenny.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But yes, I'm so happy Kenny Omega is back in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Oh, Alex Powell, that's a great tag team matchup as well. Golden Lovers versus Tanahashi and Ospreay. That was on a Road to Tokyo Dome show. That was crazy. They did that on a road too.
Because that easily could have been a Wrestle Kingdom thing.
Yeah. Yep. Next up, we had the Super Junior Tag League Finals. Sonal. It was the Ichiban Sweet Boys, Robbie Eagles, and Kosei Fujita of TMDK versus the champions of the 2023 Super Junior Tag League, Catch 2-2, Francisco Akira, and TJP. My lord, I had high expectations for this matchup, but I think they even blew my expectations away. You get TMDK early on, get an early advantage. This leads to Fujita soaring over the top rope onto TJP and Akira with a tope con hilo. Once tagged in, TJP kept Catch 2-2 in the driver's seat. You get Eagles was incapacitated. Akira on the outside with another tope con hilo of his own, while his partner narrowly avoided TJP's Falcon Arrow. You get Eagles dive back into the ring to stop a top rope assault. We had multiple great near falls in this matchup. You get TMDK hitting one of their big double team moves for a close near fall. You get the leading tower, and there that fall is broken up as well. We had double foot stomps. We had a bunch of these guys hitting their finishing moves. The situation worsened as Eagles accidentally kicked Fujita off the top rope. He survived the leaning tower once again. Eagles kept countering TJP as TJP was looking to go for a cover, but then Eagles eventually rolls up TJP with his legs basically over his head, gets the 1-2-3 to pick up the victory here and win the Super Junior Tag League Finals in a hell of a matchup. This had the Osaka crowd on fire. They were in an absolute frenzy. They had them on the edge of their seat towards this matchup. This was fast-paced, action-packed. And the closing stretch is one of the best closing stretches of any tag team match you will see this year. All 4 guys delivered in this one to crown TMDK the Super Junior Tag League Finals winners in an instant classic. I gave this match 4 3/4 stars because this was they topped off what was a great Super Junior Tag League with the best match of the tournament. This was a nearly perfect matchup that really stole the show on this card, with United Empire, seemingly looking like they were going to go back to back before TMDK, Kosei Fujita, Robbie Eagles picked up the victory here. You get the Ichiban Sweet Boys calling out the champions, the Intergalactic Jet Setters, after the matchup. They come out and they say that they actually want to put their titles up on not just against TMDK. They call back out Catch 2-2 after Catch 2-2 showed their respect to TMDK, shaking their hands and leaving the ring. They're called back out to the ring. Jet Setters say they lost to Catch 2-2 during the Super Junior Tag League tournament during the block action. So they want to give them an opportunity as well as TMDK and make it a 3-way matchup. It seems like all the competitors are agreeing to this when the Bullet Club War Dogs come out and with steel chairs, they take out everyone involved in this matchup, take them all out. They say, you beat you, you beat you, and you beat you. But guess what? We've beaten all of these teams. So we want the shot at the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships, and they'll take it at the Tokyo Dome at Wrestle Kingdom. They do their salute. They stand tall in the end. But I love the way this played out. And this was another thing that I got right in my predictions at all. I said, no matter who won this Super Junior Tag League, I was like, you got to have the Bullet Club War Dogs involved in this. You had to have them involved. I thought this would simply be like a 3-way because they never got their rematch for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles. But I like the way this all played out because Catch 2-2 beating the champions, they get their opportunity here. With TMDK beating Catch 2-2 to win the Super Junior Tag League finals, they get their opportunity here. But the one common factor that all 3 of these teams also have in common is that the Bullet Club War Dogs has beaten all of them. They beat Catch 2-2 to become the 2-time IWGP Tag Team Champions earlier this year. They beat the Jet Setters in the past. They beat TMDK in before this final, what was the best match of the tournament, which was TMDK versus Bullet Club War Dogs in Kirkin Hall on day 3. But this matchup here, to just talk about the matchup, man, this was great tag team action. One of the best tag team matches of the entire year. Like, I would put this up there with the Young Bucks versus Private Party from Dynamite last week, with Young Bucks versus Ospreay and Fletcher from Grand Slam in New York City, even up with the Young Bucks versus Sting and Darby Allin from Revolution, which is probably my favorite and the best tag team matchup of 2024. But this one had the emotion, had great storytelling, and just rapid fire offense and action the entire way. Go out of your way to watch this one. Like I said, I gave it 4 3/4 stars. Sonal, what did you think about the match and the post-match, seemingly setting up a 4-way for Wrestle Kingdom?
I almost had a heart attack in the final 5 minutes. I was honestly, my heart, I was like, what is going on? There was like tags, there was roll-ups, there was pins. I was like, I don't know. Because I went into this match very conflicted. Okay, probably the most conflicted I've been in quite a while because I love Catch 2-2. But I love Ichiban Sweet Boys. I think the bond is great. But this match was perfect. The story they've been telling, you've got the 2 veterans, the Filipino link as well there. And then in the press conference, Akira was saying, we've got the veterans, but we are the future. And the styles all blend together so well. We've got 2 guys who are amazing at submission. Then the young guys who are fast and quick. And you know when things just come together? Like the right place, the right time. This was that. And like, I agree with you. Like, I don't watch any of those shows like AW. I don't watch them unless they've got New Japan guys in. But this was probably my favorite tag team match of the year. I think it was phenomenal in every way. And I know some people after the match so this is my take on it. When it's going to be a fatal 4-way, they were like, "Well, what's the point of the tournament?" This is not the first time that New Japan have done this. As I said earlier,
this was a tradition of New Japan for like the end of the 2010s. Like they did the multi-man tag team junior heavyweight tag team matchup. Young Bucks, Red Dragon, Forever Hooligans, dating back from all the way over there to now.
And that's the thing, and it's managed to put, and I've always said this, that junior tag division is one of those divisions that really thrives on multi-man, and it gets 8 amazing guys into it. It's like, I know that it's going to be probably one of the matches I look forward to the most when I go, because again, it's got 8 of my favorite wrestlers in it. I mean, guys who are so different, and again, as we mentioned earlier. Did we mention it earlier? Yeah, I feel we did. Of like showing how strong the junior tag division is compared to the heavyweight one. Like, you have 4 of the best teams, and you could have actually put anyone really in it. Obviously, this makes sense story-wise, but you could have put the Velocities in it. You could have put Roppongi Revice, which is what I wanted because Roppongi, isn't it? You could have put Ishimori and Robbie X. I am really excited for this, and again, like, that's probably going to be one of my favorite New Japan matches of the year, just because it was done so well. And these guys have been wrestling for like 2-3 weeks straight, like block matches, and they still managed to pull out this. Amazing.
Just a fantastic match. This was spectacular. Go out of your way to watch it. I'm going to watch it again after this show. Like I said, 4 3/4 star. That might have been already. It's a Monday. I think that's going to be the match of the week. Unless we get a 5-star match this week, I don't know if it's going to top this match that we saw this morning. But yes, I agree with a bunch of the comments in the chat. You got Alex Powell who says, I remember the Wrestle Kingdom 10 was fire because it featured Bucks, Red Dragon, Roppongi Vice, Seidel, and Ricochet. Yeah, there was so many great junior tag teams in those, like the 2010s onwards, the end of the 2010s, especially when the Young Bucks were in the junior heavyweight division. That's where they really kind of bolstered their name even more. Like, some people will give it credit to, being the Elite and their run in Ring of Honor, which were both great, but they really made a name for themselves over in Japan in the junior heavyweight tag team division.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Like, it's not even the tag division, it's juniors in general. Like, the first Wrestle Kingdom I watched was the Fatal 4-Way for the junior title. It just works. And, like, while you can complain, it is not really worthless. Like, I almost think that the Best of Super Junior Tag League Trophy is not just to cement your title shot. More than anything, it says you're the best junior tag team in New Japan.
Yeah.
So I don't think it matters, and I think Fujita and Robbie probably don't care, because technically in these matches it kind of helps, because if you get everyone, do you know what I mean? The chaotic nature of the match sometimes helps people, and I still think that they're going to have Fujita and Robbie win, because they're going to have Fujita as the youngest ever champion. That's what we need. That's what we want.
I'm with you. I want the Ichiban Sweet Boys to pick up the victory here, because they put on the best 2 matches of the entire tournament between today's final and the matchup. I keep talking about that Bullet Club War Dogs versus TMDK and Kirk Hall was absolutely tremendous. I enjoyed that so much. So yeah, they deserve to win the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles, but all these teams deserve their spot at Wrestle Kingdom. So I'm gonna enjoy it. Next up, we had the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship up for grabs here as Doki defended against Master Wato. This just felt to me, Sonal, like the moment in time where it was time for Master Wato to make his way to the Grandmaster.
I honestly, I thought it was the time, SP3 as well. I thought it was the time to go to the Grandmaster.
The way he came out, I love his look now, like with the black hair. He really feels like a final boss. He's really put his whole look together by getting rid of the goofy blue hair.
Hey, I like the blue hair. It just wasn't done very well.
They start trading elbows early on. They locked horns. Doki kept himself ahead of Wato, getting some near falls. He slowed down the pace of the matchup, which really was to his advantage before Wato used his speed to keep him on the back foot. Wato hit a springboard uppercut from the top rope, flattening Doki. We got some big high flying spots, like Doki launching himself off the top rope into a senton onto Wato, and he hit the concrete really hard on this one. You get Wato with a tope con hilo to the outside, smooth going over the top rope and landing on his feet. Doki would hit a Doki bomb and laid the challenger out beyond the ring. We get him wrapping Wato within the Doki choke it, the signature Doki choke it, the Doki choke it. But Wato was able to fight his way out and get his foot on the rope. He had landed the TDD, but Doki couldn't get the pinfall. We get Wato kept going for his signature moves, but Doki would find some way, somehow, to fight his way out of it and not be able to hit with the RRP or the big move off the top rope. He couldn't hit Resentemente and get the cover, so he kept avoiding the big moves from Wato, and Doki really used his prowess and his ability to kind of get the right counter at the right time, and his veteran leadership, his desperation and intensity through his selling was great in this matchup. And in the end, he was able to hit a big DDT into the Doki Choki. Wato tried to fight. He tried to fight, get to his knees, get to his feet, but he kept it locked in on the second turn. And finally, Doki made Wato choke out. Referee stoppage. He was motionless and unconscious in the Doki Choki for Doki to pick up the victory in this one. This was a great matchup. These two guys have great chemistry with one another. You know, they came up from like the bottom of the junior heavyweight division all the way to the top here in a big matchup on this show, and they delivered. I gave this matchup 4 stars. Really strong matchup here from Doki, who's putting on a very, very good reign as IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. He's beaten the big 3. He's beaten one of the guys that he always had the advantage over him in show, and then a big victory here over a game, Master Wato, who had a pretty much a star-making performance for me. This was up there with his Super Junior final from last year, as well as his title match at Dominion last year against Hiromu. So another stellar showing from Master Wato. But the post-match set up where we were going for Wrestle Kingdom, because he's back. The real ace of the Super Juniors now, El Desperado. The Draw himself is back in New Japan Pro Wrestling, making a surprise appearance. He comes out and he challenges Doki for a rematch for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. It was Doki who beat him back in June to win the title, and now Despi's coming back for his gold, and he wants it at the Tokyo Dome at Wrestle Kingdom, and that seems to be made official. It will be Doki versus El Desperado at the Tokyo Dome at Wrestle Kingdom. I like Doki as champion. Like I said, he's had a strong story. I would even go as far, I would give this match probably 4.25, because they just really showed out and really had an intense, really strong matchup here that kind of sold the storytelling with the desperation of Doki up against like the resourcefulness of and the speed of Master Wato. But I really felt like Wato should have won this. Wato really should have won this, because you could have still got Doki into the Wrestle Kingdom. Like, you're doing a 4-way for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles. You could have done a 3-way here. And maybe you could have had it where you have someone else. You have Yo be the one that challenged Doki at Power Struggle. I know that would have stopped Roppongi Revice being in the tag team tournament, and I love them in the tag team tournament. But Master Wato, you gotta crown him at some point. You're on the clock, Master Wato. This is now what, his 4th shot at the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship.
Yo for the most unsuccessful challenges.
He's 0 for 4 now, so he's gotta come through. And you either had to have him win here or at Wrestle Kingdom, because now he's the man who I think needs to win the Best of Super Junior final next year and win the championship sometime in 2025. Because man, you can't keep doing this to this man. He is a star in the making, and he's still in his 20s. You got to crown him at some point. But I enjoyed Doki's reign so far, and Doki and El Desperado will have a strong matchup at Wrestle Kingdom. But what did you think about this matchup and the post-match with Despi's return?
So I'm going to start with the post-match. New Japan did it for me, isn't it? They know I love Doki. They know I love Despi. They were like, let's put them in a match at Wrestle Kingdom. I'm with you on the fact that they shouldn't have had Wato. They shouldn't have had Wato challenge here. Because he came back, and there was really, when he challenged, he had like no momentum. He's like, I'm back, guys. I want to challenge for the title. And he hadn't really done anything before against Doki to really cement that. But I do agree he should have won. But just not here. I wouldn't have done Yo, because Yo can't afford any more losses for this bloody IWGP Junior Championship.
Also true.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? They could have bought anyone else. Maybe Titan. Titan wasn't doing anything in New Japan, but yeah, I feel like they do need to do it, but I think Doki has just been on such an amazing run, and I think for it to end, or maybe, I don't know, I hope it doesn't end, because I know that he has hinted that he wants to face Darby Allin the next day at Wrestle Dynasty.
No, he wants to face Doki wants to face Sammy Guevara.
Oh, okay. Well, let's do it. Okay.
She's like less enthused about that.
I'm dream booking here. But
give me Despy versus Darby. I wouldn't mind that.
Well, Hiromu's been asking for it for ages. We've been all asking for it for ages between them two.
We have.
I think, I'm happy to see Doki continue his reign. But you're right. I think Wato needed to win on his first try, but it shouldn't have been now. So I get why they didn't do it, but they should have just not had him challenge. But then he had nobody to team with, so they needed to do something with him.
Yeah.
It was a really good match. The match itself was phenomenal. Like, I couldn't fault it at all.
Yeah, I thought it was a great matchup. These two guys have great chemistry with one another after years. And I agree with, Alex Powell in the chat. He said Wato versus Doki in the pandemic compared to this is so night and day. Yes.
Was that not the
Tenzan? They've both improved. They've both improved so much.
Was that the Tenzan Wato?
Yes. And I loved him pulling out the Tenzan driver in the matchup. That was great. That was great. I was like, oh yeah, I remember when you were Tenzan's little young boy. That was good. Big Man Dog says, Tony told him to say that. Nobody asks for Sammy Guevara.
That's why I thought Darby Allin, because I was like, well, that's a big thing. That's great.
Well, Doki has history with Sammy Guevara because they were in Mexico at the same time.
Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, I like that. That makes sense.
We got Alex Powell says, hopefully we get Takahashi versus Darby at Dynasty. Please. Pretty please.
Don't ask
even though
this channel.
Even though I don't know if Hiromu can do 2 losses at Tokyo Dome, because if he gets Naito or Wrestle Kingdom, I don't think he's winning that.
No, in either. Oh wait.
I don't think he's winning against Darby, because Darby's on his way to a world title shot. So
yeah, I've been watching that.
The one I would say he should win is probably against Naito.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I think he should win against Naito, because I think as Naito's slowing down, we can have a coup of Los Ingobernables Day. I think we've been saying that for a while, haven't we? We have for a minute now.
Yeah. Next up was the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship.
No, we're skipping this. We're skipping this SP3.
David Finlay defends against Tai Chi of Just Five Guys. This was actually a very good matchup. I was quite surprised. I thought Tai Chi kind of showed that babyface fire that we've been kind of grown accustomed to with him since basically starting up Just Five Guys. You had Finley's goal was clear. He was trying to make Taichi uneasy throughout this matchup, talking, and even in the lead up to this matchup, where he was talking about he had a Just Five Guys member that he basically has swayed and he shouldn't trust. He kicked him. You had Taichi, who was basically keeping Finley on the back foot. He kicked the champion with disgust. Finley managed to eke out some painful agony on his opponent, slamming him into the barricades, into the commentary booths. You had the monitors for Walker and Chris kept falling over as he was slamming them hard into the barricade. Takamichi Noku was basically by the side of Taichi while Gato was in the corner of Finley. He tried to get involved at one point, but Taka stopped him. We get suplexes to Finley, even one over the top rope, the dangerous backpack driver to the floor. Taichi recovered while Finley squirmed in pain over landing hard on the steel barricades. We get the fans rallying behind Taichi as he was going hard and hitting some big moves, hitting the big lariat for a near fall. Finley contributed a Canadian hammer onto Taichi, but he couldn't get the cover for the 1-2-3. He hit the into oblivion and got a near fall. Then he said he asked Gato, how many power bombs should I hit him with? So he started hitting the jackknife power bomb, but Taichi kept fighting back, kept trying to get into it. Even at one point, Finley hits the Black Mephisto on Taichi, and he kicks out of that one. Finally, we get Taichi hits the Black Mephisto. He gets the 1-2. Taka's got Gato on the other side of the ring, but then we see the referee get pulled out of the ring.
Nope.
It was Sanada. Sanada did it. Taichi is completely confused. He's looking at Gato. He thinks Gato did it. Gato gets the upper hand on Taka outside of the ring, and he's shaking his head that it wasn't him. On the other side of the ring, you have Sanada, who's wearing a Just Five Guys jacket, and then he unzips the jacket to reveal he is wearing a Bullet Club War Dogs t-shirt underneath. With the referee down outside, Finley turns Taichi around. He hits him with the shillelagh. He struck the backside of Taichi. He gets the cover with the overkill 1-2-3. David Finley defeats Taichi thanks to Sanada, that evil bastard. We get Sanada coming into the ring. Taka asking him what is going on. Gato attacks Taka from behind and holds him up as Sanada low blows him a kick to the balls. He then picks up Taichi, the friend that made him find himself, helped him to win the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship last year. It was that matchup with Taichi in Kurgan Hall in the New Japan Cup that changed everything for Sanada and led to him getting the biggest win of his career, finally beating Okada for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. He hugs him, and then he delivers one of the worst dead falls ever. He then stands over him with David Finley. We hear the boos from the crowd. The boos that he started to get at Royal Quest were back as he betrays Taichi. He betrays the entire Just Five Guys stable. Doki comes out asking him what's going on, and he just has to pull Taichi to safety. Then David Finley gets on the microphone and he's bragging that he told Taichi so. He told him he had a member of Just Five Guys he couldn't trust, and that's his main man, Sanada. Sanada is now in the War Dogs, is now by the side of the IWGP Global Heavyweight Champion. He said that he challenged Yuya Uemura, but Uemura didn't want to come out for the challenge. But there was one more man he needed to challenge, one more man that beat him in the G1 that he needed to get revenge on, and that was Yota Tsuji. Yota Tsuji came out after Finley called him a fat ass and told him to hurry up to the ring. He then told him that it's one thing to beat the Rebel once, but Tsuji beat him twice in the G1. So he was going to challenge Tsuji for the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship January 4th, the Tokyo Dome, Wrestle Kingdom, and Tsuji accepts.
No. I out of principle, I won't. No.
Just talk about your emotions. This is like a therapy session. You need to talk through your emotions. How did you feel? What was your reaction to all of this going down? Like I said, I thought the match was very damn good. That's why I gave a boost to Doki and Wato, because I thought that was slightly better. But I gave this match like 4 stars, 3 3/4 stars, 4 stars. I'm kind of in between there because it was a very good matchup. Taichi showing that babyface fire, fighting from underneath at times, on the verge of victory before heartbreak happened and Sanada turned heel.
Yeah, the match itself was great. Like, Taichi came out here, new ring game. I put it out there. I was like, if Taichi wins, I'm gonna recreate the mask for Wrestle Kingdom. I still might. It's a very nice mask. But the match itself was amazing. I love seeing Taichi in this babyface. Like, they was mentioned on commentary when I started watching New Japan, whenever Taichi came out, they'd be like Taichi Kairu, which means to go home. But now they're chanting for him, and like, I was very similar. I started off not being a Taichi fan, but very quickly, like, he like switched on me, and I love that it happened with the crowd. Finley was doing a very good job as a heel. As soon as Sanada came out, I knew it. I said it. But even when it happened, like, if anyone knows me, they'll know I'm the biggest Sanada fan. I've met Sanada multiple times. We're besties. Like, I now realize that the reason he didn't do this meet and greet at Royal Quest SP3 is because he didn't want to come face to face with me, knowing he was gonna basically betray everyone closest to him, betray me, and go to the other side. It's that serious for me. Like I said, the wallet is empty. He was meant to stand beside his Just Five Guys brother and the man he has the best matches with. Now it's empty. Yeah, if you go on social media, you'll see the video of me throwing Sanada onto my bed dramatically.
You threw it away? You threw the picture away completely?
No, God, no, I'm not throwing it away. You know, I paid money for that meet and greet and that signature.
Exactly. Don't go too over the top.
I metaphorically threw him. Like, it's the, you know what I mean? I get it. It's for the storyline. He's probably still an amazing guy, but anyone else, I wouldn't have cared. But it's Taichi,
our holy emperor. He didn't even see it coming. Emperor. Hey, I was like Mr. Bonda, who says, I'll be honest, I was never a Taichi guy, but even I can admit that he didn't deserve what Senya did to him here. I would say, yeah, I wasn't a Taichi guy. Taichi had to warm up the Taichi, but it was through. I would tell you the match that changed my opinion of Taichi. It was Kota Ibushi into G1 where they kicked each other's legs for like 15 minutes. Yeah, that was the match. That was the matchup that I was like, you know what, Taichi ain't that bad after all. I was like, that was one of the most unique, innovative matches I've ever seen, because they just kicked the shit out of each other for like 15 minutes. And then he's had great matches with Will Ospreay since then. And, you know, him and Sanada in the New Japan Cup last year was great. Him and Naito have had some really good matches. And this here, he showed that babyface fire. He fought from underneath. He showed the determination. The crowd was rallying behind him and really wanted to see him win. And all of that, I could say, is also, you have to give a lot of credit to David Finlay, who's been on an absolute tear since the G1. The G1 was a turning point. Jay News isn't here.
Jay News isn't here, so we can praise Finlay.
Finlay has really evolved into the top heel that they wanted him to be last year. He's finally evolved into the guy who should be the top heel of the promotion. And he's really come into his own. And he's gone on a great streak of very good to absolutely excellent matches between, you know, the semifinals against Yota Tsuji, his match with Yoshihashi that stole the show at Destruction, his match with Goto, making Goto's daughter cry and being the biggest
that was
asshole in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And then here with Tai Chi, he's really coming to his own as the Nepo baby savage that he is.
I agree.
I know you're not happy, Genesis J. I know you're not happy.
He really helped play this story, because turning on Tai Chi is bad enough, but for Finlay, who's such a bastard, it adds to it. And like, obviously this is wrestling, isn't it? So like in reality, like while openly I am saying, oh, I'm going through a divorce, this is very good storytelling. This is really good. And as we've been saying, Sanada's been in like a bit of a slump since losing the title. He's not really been doing anything, gaining any momentum. So this was the right thing to do, in my opinion.
He needed this. He needed this a lot. Yeah, man. Call me Mr. Bonda saying Yuya Uemura has to beat his ass when he returns. Yeah, he's setting up the Uemura return so well with the amount of times he brings him up.
Am I getting at Wrestle Kingdom Tai Chi versus Sanada?
I think so. I think that's what this angle did. I think it set up a nice little undercard matchup of Sanada versus Tai Chi.
I'll record myself crying through the entire match for you guys.
I thought this was a very good angle. This was a very good angle. I probably, like I said, I gave the matchup like 3 3/4 stars. I would give the angle 4.5 stars.
Yeah,
this was not a 5-star angle, but it was 4.5 stars. Very good.
It was the right angle for all of the men. Tai Chi is now even more over, even more babyface than ever before. Finlay is even more hated than ever before. It worked. It's nice. It's good. It was good.
And also, another one of my predictions was correct. Yota Tsuji getting the shot at the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship at Finlay at Wrestle Kingdom. That needs to be the time Yota Tsuji gets the win and becomes a champion in New Japan. You agree?
I agree massively. I think we've been saying this. I think he's not won any titles, and where else than Wrestle Kingdom. And while most guys would say he needs a smaller title, Tsuji is ready for one of those top titles. And if they're not going to give him the heavyweight, why not the secondary title?
Yeah, agreed there. And then finally, Sonal, we had the main event of the show, Zack Sabre Jr. defending the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship against Shingo Takagi. These two men have just developed incredible chemistry with one another, and it's just so much of a styles clash where you have the chess player basically of a wrestler that is Zack Sabre Jr., who just knows how to break down physically each and every opponent that he goes up against, using his brilliant in-ring greatness, as well as his technical ability to just higher level than anyone else. And Shingo Takagi just batters and bruises everyone he's in the ring with. You get Sabre Jr. using kind of speedy holds to help and get the early advantage against Shingo. Shingo powered his way out of it. You get him working over the arm of Shingo, and he moved on to the knee and the legs, trying to prep him for the same finisher that he put him away with in the G1 climax in the semifinals. Sabre damaged Takagi's fingers at some point, strung him along across the mat with some painful holds to keep him from getting any type of recovery time. He goes for an octopus hold, but Shingo's able to power out of it and hit a big Death Valley driver to keep the match going. He gets a flurry of offense. Both men were just going back and forth. We just had fluid, smooth counter work going back and forth between each man. You get Takagi, he gets the Stage Dream, almost gets the near fall with that one. He gets a beautiful Made in Japan and gets the 1-2 with that one as well. You get Sabre Jr., who comes back, he hits a tornado DDT. He remains unable to pin Takagi, and I love how commentary set it up that Shingo, every time he's lost to Zack Sabre Jr., it's been by submission. And Shingo tried different submissions throughout this matchup. One point, he looked like he was going to go for the cattle mutilation. I love how both men used their matches with Bryan Danielson to use little Bryan Danielson moves in the matchup. Like Zack Sabre Jr. at one point, he did the surfboard hold, stomps to the knee. And then you get Shingo, who does the elbows, the hammer and anvil elbows at another point. They try for finisher after finisher. Takagi is unable to get the 1-2-3 on made on the last of the dragon. He hits it, but he's not able to get the cover because Zack had kicked at his injured knee before that. But eventually, after a Zack driver that Shingo kicked out of, he was able to hit the Sabre driver, which is the leg-trapped Michinoku driver, and he gets the 1-2-3 to pick up the victory in nearly 30 minutes of a superb main event. This was an outstanding matchup between two of the best in the business today. This is another match. I got to go 4 3/4 stars because these two guys just have nothing short of amazing chemistry with one another. Another sensational bout between Zack Sabre Jr. and Shingo Takagi. V2 for Zack Sabre Jr. here. But man, like I said, 4 3/4 stars for this matchup. But man, the post match might be at 5 stars because this set up this checked so many boxes for me with the post match because you knew whoever was going to be the challenger for Wrestle Kingdom would probably come out, and out came Shota Umino. And as soon as he goes through the curtain, the boos are showering down on him from the Osaka crowd. This Osaka crowd booed the shit out of Shooter. Shooter got booed out the building. He's shaking his head as the fans boo him, but he comes out. He challenges Zack Sabre Jr. for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, and he says that you can choose when I get the title shot. Zack wants to avenge one of his losses in the G1. He also lost to Shooter earlier this year, so he has 2 straight losses against Shota Umino. So he accepts the challenge, wanting to avenge his final losses that he's taken this year. He accepts the challenge. We don't get confirmation on when the matchup would take place. Zack Sabre Jr. says his goodbyes to the crowd, and we seem like we're going to close the show, but then Zack's music cuts. Then we get a big yellow R on the screen and the music of Ricochet. His AEW music hits. The crowd popped big as soon as Ricochet's name shows up, but he doesn't come out from the entranceway. Instead, this man goes full speed to the other side of the ring through the crowd. He almost slips on the apron from all the confetti and that came down for Zack as we seemed like we were going to close the show. And he hits a springboard clothesline, and he makes his return to the Syrian Blue for the first time since 2017. Ricochet is back in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He then says that he wants to make a statement. It's been too long, New Japan Pro Wrestling. He says, if you really want to make a statement, you really want to have your presence felt in New Japan, you have to go after the top title. He's gone after the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship in the past, but now he says he's a heavyweight now, and he stakes his claim for an IWGP World Heavyweight Championship matchup against a man he's very familiar with in Zack Sabre Jr. from their time in Evolve, and he wants it on January 5th in the Tokyo Dome at Wrestle Dynasty. Ricochet then goes to the corner. He looks like he's about to hit his new running forearm finisher, his running elbow finisher that he's been hitting, the not-so-hidden blade. But Shota Umino once again comes out. He actually makes the save for Zack Sabre Jr., and he gets booed out the building again. I was like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Umino chases off Ricochet. Zack Sabre Jr., he tries to help him up. He picks up the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Zack gets pissed. He pushes down Umino. He kicks him in the head. Zack calls out to Ricochet, telling him to get back here, that he wants to get his hands on him, which allows Shooter to recover. He turns Zack around, and he hits a Death Rider on Zack Sabre Jr. He then picks up the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship and stakes his claim that he's going to get the shot before Ricochet, and Zack Sabre Jr. is left laying by what seems to be his next 2 challengers for the top prize in New Japan Pro Wrestling. I did not expect all of this from the post-match. I thought we would get Shooter. I thought it would be confirmed for Wrestle Kingdom, but they left it so vague with that challenge that it could happen at Strong Style Evolved in December. I don't know. We don't know. We don't know what's gonna happen because he said Shooter said anytime that Zack wants. Zack in the post-match comments did allude that he's gonna main event both nights of the Tokyo Dome with Wrestle Kingdom on January 4th and Wrestle Dynasty on January 5th. He also talked about all the boos should be assigned to Shota Umino, that he's doing something wrong. He talked trash about Ricochet, saying that he can't grow hair, but he's grown a lot in the time that he's been away from New Japan Pro Wrestling. But man, that post match, that was one of the most newsworthy and buzzworthy post matches for New Japan to close a show in a long time. I did not expect Ricochet to show up, but man, Ricochet just with this one thing, and he's already had a great run with AEW. And I know you don't watch a lot of AEW, but if you haven't already, Sonal, watch Ricochet versus Ospreay versus Takeshita from Wrestle Dynasty. One of the best 3-ways that I've ever seen. So he's already made a name for himself in AEW and seems like the guy who's going to challenge Takeshita for the international championship coming up at Full Gear. But man, you want to say, for anyone who was like, oh, Ricochet made a mistake by leaving WWE, I don't think you can say that anymore. This man stepped back into New Japan and he's going for the top prize and might main event the Tokyo Dome. He did not make a mistake. He made the right move for his career.
Honestly, like you were just gonna say, the match itself was great. Shingo and Zack never failed to have a good match. It was another match similar to the Super Junior Tag League where, like, I assumed Zack was gonna win, but Shingo made me think he was gonna win. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was like on the edge of my seat, and then like you said, and you've mentioned this a few times, the build to Wrestle Dynasty in the show has been phenomenal. Like, first you have Kenny, you have all sorts, and then suddenly Ricochet comes out of nowhere. The guy traveled halfway around the world just to make a claim. It's great, and I like how they've mixed Shota's thing into it. And like I said before, with all the wrestlers acknowledging Shota's boos, they can't not do something for it.
Yeah, 100% agree. You have to make it a part of his character, and that he has to snap at some point. He has to get enough of the boos, and he has to snap and really go full on heel.
Make him really delusional though for a few months, or a few weeks. Have him like he's almost not hearing the boos. Have something like that where he's like, oh, what? Like, they love me, blah blah blah. He's still going to be with the children, giving things out, and then have that one thing where that will eventually turn into crazy boos, and then he snaps. This is just my booking.
Love it. I love it. We do have a super chat donation here from Genesis J. Thank you so much, Genesis J. He says Nepo baby wishes he could get heat like Shooter. Shooter is the top heel. He's the top man. He got booed out the building. Booed out the building.
He did. It was quite funny. It was honestly, I've not heard something like that since the House of Torture main event.
It is true. Oh, we got Mr. Bonda who says loved everything about this main event. Red Shoes expressions throughout, how in sync Chris and Walker were at the finish, Shota claiming his Wrestle Kingdom spot, and my nigga Ricochet teasing his heel turn. I don't think we can cement
Shota's doing Wrestle Kingdom. Like you said, SP3, with him saying any time, anywhere, I think that specifically is sort of, because most people go, like Despy did, at Wrestle Kingdom, do you know what I mean? Whereas they didn't say that for that, so.
I think they are gonna do it, though.
Really? That'd be a massive heat. That would be great heat on him.
It would. He would be the heel in that situation. No matter what he does, he could come out and do the same entrance and act like he's delusional and he doesn't hear it, but he's going to have to work the heel. And we're going to see how he can adjust to that, how he can adjust to being the heel in the matchup. But yeah, the Ricochet being like, this was a heel move. This was a heel move for Ricochet. And he's a babyface in AEW, but kind of
Zack is the babyface. Everyone loves him. So anything you do against Zack is like a Royal Quest Sanada. he was a heel because by de facto he was against that. Similar with Shota, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Like, and Ricochet, this was probably the most confident I've ever seen him on the mic. Like he just cut that promo like he was born to be a heel. That was great. That was great. Big Man Dog says Shooter should scold the crowd into cheering him.
I like that. Sticking with the Delulu, he's been like a teacher. It's like, no, don't you scold me or I will tell my dad.
It was like you should be ashamed of yourself for booing me. I'm just a good guy. I gave wristbands to your kids and you boo me?
Yeah.
You boo me?
I didn't steal a baby when I could have.
I could have stole that baby. Look, I can do the CEO dance. Look what I can do.
So funny. That's so funny.
Genesis J says, keep booing Shooter. Then he busts out the blinky plastic bag from behind him. I'm telling you, Shooter putting the plastic bag over Tanahashi's head is where we're going with this. I think we lost Sonal. We'll see if she's able to come back. But thank you so much to everybody in the chat. You guys are awesome, showing your love throughout this podcast here. Let us know in the live chat. Of course, we're going to close out this show. So let us know your match of the night, your MVP, your LVP, whether you gave the show a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle, and out of 10, what did you give the show? Final call for super chat donations as well. Thank you so much to everyone who's contributed already, like I Make Beats, Genesis J, who's been showing us a bunch of love for this live stream. We appreciate y'all so much. We got Big Man Dogs who says, Shooters like, I hugged your nasty kids and pretended to like it for you people.
That'd be good. I'd like that.
I love it so much. Shooter, the best heel in the business. It's coming. It's coming. 2025. It's yours. It's yours. All right. So now let's put our thumbs in the middle for NJPW Power Struggle 2024 in 3, 2, 1. Thumbs up across the board from both of us. Out of 10, I'm going to give this one an 8.5 out of 10. What did you think, Sonal?
I give it a 1 because of Sanada. No, I'm joking. No, sorry. I think that's a bit harsh. Yours at 9. I think the only issue I had with this was the House of Torture and Hontai match, because again, that was thing. But apart from that, everything was really solid. They really got a good sense of direction going into January 4th and 5th, and I really liked that.
Yeah. This was a really strong show as far as delivering good to great wrestling throughout the card, and then also delivering great hype for Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty in a major way. They did a great job of balancing both on this show. What was your match of the night, Sonal?
The Super Junior Tag League tournament final. It was like when I started watching New Japan. So pre that, I watched WWE. My favorite was 205 Live. I loved it. And then when I moved to New Japan, the first major tournament I watched was the Best of Super Junior, and I was instantly in love. What I love is this match proved it, the diversity of the junior division, and we saw the present and the future of the company, and it was great.
Great stuff. Totally agree with you. I'm gonna give it match of the night because I think that both of these matches were on the same level. Catch 22 versus TMDK Super Junior Tag League Final, and the main event, Shingo Takagi versus Zack Sabre Jr. I gave both matches 4 3/4 stars, and I can't force myself to choose one over the other. I think they were both outstanding matches on this show. What was your MVP for the show, Sonal?
I'm going to say Taichi, because the reason why is because he sold that match perfectly. Sanada turning on anyone would be bad enough, but Taichi's face, like, you could see the heartbreak in him. Everything about him, this is worlds away from the man who used to get booed, who was a heel. He is now a full-blown babyface. And I think, and like, I could go with the easy, like Zack or Shingo or well, but I think Taichi has shown how much he is able to adapt. Do you know what I mean? He still has his Holy Emperor. There's still a darkness to him, but he knew that he could be the full-on babyface, and he even with his comments on Twitter after he like even shared, he was like, "You said that we could do World Tag League. If you didn't want to do it, you should have just told me." Like, break my heart.
I'm gonna give it. This might surprise some people. I'm gonna give it to Ricochet.
Ooh.
Because Ricochet and Kushida were in similar spots before they left for New Japan to go to WWE. They both wanted to get moved up to heavyweight in New Japan. New Japan and Gato refused to do it, so both guys went over to WWE. Kushida came back first, and he's been still in the junior heavyweight division, whether it be tag team. He hasn't really even done anything in the singles division like that. And then you have Ricochet, who went to AEW when he left WWE finally, and now he walks into New Japan, and not only is he a heavyweight now, he has a shot at main eventing the Tokyo Dome against the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. If that ain't an impactful and really he proved himself to be worthy of getting that level up, I don't know what is. Like, Ricochet came in, and that was probably on a show that had Kenny Omega returning to New Japan. I think Ricochet stole more of the headlines on this show.
I agree.
LVP for the show, Sonal.
I mean, I could go ding with the Sanada, but I mean, story-wise, Sanada was amazing. I'm gonna go House of Torture. It was just, it was unnecessary. I mean, I know it wasn't a big title match, but it's just anything that I have to see evil. I'm just like, I can't deal with this today. It's too early in the morning for it.
So you gave him MVP. I'm gonna give him LVP. Taichi.
But did he not break your heart? Did he not break your heart?
Hey, Sanada broke his heart. Taichi didn't see it coming. Didn't see it coming.
Been divorced twice now. First Zack Sabre Jr., now Taichi. The guy needs to bring back Miho Abe.
He needs her.
Only she can fix everything now.
Genesis J says MVP, Kenny, by God, Omega, LVP, SP3, bringing up that damn tree. Yeah. Match of the night, Catch 22 versus TMDK. Thumbs up, 8 out of 10. Mr. Bonda gives it a thumbs up, 8.5 out of 10. Simeon gives it an 8.75 out of 10. Match of the night, Super Junior Tag Final. MVP, Ichiban Sweet Boys. LVP, Sanada and Shoto Umino. And Mr. Bonda says match of the night, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Takagi. MVP, Kenny Omega. LVP, Scumbag Sanada.
Yeah. You know, I don't disagree with you guys. Don't disagree.
Fair. Thank you so much, guys. You guys have been awesome in the live chat joining us today. We appreciate you. We appreciate you if you're watching us on demand. Let us know in the comments down below what you thought about Power Struggle 2024. Sonal, let everybody know where they can follow you on social media and when they shall see you again.
Yeah, so you can follow me on the X at wrestling_chat. You can subscribe to me at Sonal's Life on YouTube. Literally like a few minutes before I came on here, I posted my Power Struggle review. So you can go and watch that now. You should definitely subscribe to me because, you know, I don't know if I mentioned it maybe once, twice, or 5 times, but I'm going to be in Japan in January for Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty. So, yeah, make sure you hit subscribe and follow me. And obviously, if you follow me on X, you will know when I'm next going to be on this beautiful show.
Absolutely. Always enjoy talking about New Japan Pro Wrestling with Sonal for sure. So you can follow her over there, wrestling_chat at Sonal's Life, her YouTube channel. You can follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. Follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at TrueHillHeat. Patreon.com/TrueHillHeat, $3 a month gets you exclusive content and the best place to support us when we are not live here. We'll be talking about some New Japan Pro Wrestling again on Wednesday because we got a preview Fighting Spirit Unleashed, which is this Friday from Lowell, Massachusetts. So we'll see if Jay News will be back for that, and we'll get his thoughts on Sanada showing up with his favorite wrestler in the world, David Finlay. We'll get that then. But yes, follow that and check out all the great content we got on the channel right now, like our other pay-per-view review from this past weekend, WWE Crown Jewel 2024 review with myself, True Jaw Josh, and Robert D. Felice. And check out the flagship podcast, True Hill Heat 301. Checking out, talking about all the weekend wrestling, a crazy week, a jam-packed week. This was a jumbo-size edition of the True Hill Heat flagship podcast. Myself, Top Guy JJ, True Jaw Josh, talking about everything from WWE, AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, and much, much more. So check that out as well. For Sonal, it is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3. This has been our NJPW Power Struggle 2024 review. We are signing off until next time.